Networking Podcast promotes business owners, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people from my unique communication lab in Brazil. Today we talk with Vicky Weber, joining us from Gurney, Illinois. Vicky Weber is a best-selling children's book author and co-owner of the At-Home Author, Coaching and Consulting. As a Puerto Rican author of Taíno descent, she creates picture books that are fun, engaging, and educational. Her titles are based on a background in music education or her heritage. The Taíno were indigenous people of the Caribbean. They were the principal inhabitants of most of what is now Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Haiti, and Puerto Rico. So, Vicky, you resigned from teaching to be a full-time author. How do you now help others become authors?
One of my favorite parts about being a teacher is working with people. So even though I've left the classroom, now one of the things that I do is I educate through my children's picture books, and I help other people learn how to write them themselves. I found that many people have a story to tell and have story ideas and just have no idea how to get started. Or if they do, the information they find on the internet is conflicting. So through coaching and courses and other free resources like blog posts and YouTube videos, I help other people get to where they want to be with publishing.
And also find out what you want to say. What I like, you
Absolutely.
consider everybody people, so it's not kids and children. Kids and children are people.
Absolutely. Sometimes what we want to say or the vision that we have for a book is great, but we don't know how to get it on the page. Or we try to get it on the page and it doesn't line up. Some people just don't even know what words to use to start, or they have a concept idea and can't solidify the idea into story form. So that's something I help with as well.
And well, the visual part, the picture story, can help many people. Because even here in Brazil, many people have difficulty in even reading. So it's a visual culture. So what they see really is what they can understand. And it's not necessarily the words. So as a child, as younger people, or people sort of outside the educational system, they need to be brought in or should be brought in through pictures, right?
Yeah, and it's not as simple as it looks. It's kind of like putting a puzzle piece together, but you're also building the puzzle at the same time. So you need to understand how the pictures work with your words and vice versa, because like you said, there are some places where the illustrations will do most of the storytelling and other places where the words will carry that weight. So it's really a balance, and it is a skill that you need to learn. But it's not something that you need a formal education to do. It's just something you need practice and you need exposure and some guidance.
Well, I think that's true for any profession. The exposure and being with real people and seeing real feedback from real people can help anybody in any business.
Editing is one of the biggest parts of a story. Even the best authors in the world have a great story idea, but they have a great editor behind them, because the revision process is really what tightens the story up and aligns it to whatever the vision for it is. And a lot of people worry that editing will take away components of their ideas or their story, or that it's going to deviate from their original intent. But the reality is that feedback is what makes a story special, because those added perspectives can elevate your story in ways you didn't think about.
Right.
That sole perspective, that one perspective, is limited. So outside feedback can really make it special to as many people as possible.
Well, I always say success never walks alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's to that we do need to hear or feel the resonation from others. Because obviously we become too involved in what we think we know and what we think we are, and we sort of close in the walls, where reality is outside those walls.
I can't tell you how many times I've written something and in my head I thought it was one way, and then I send it to somebody and they ask, why is this the way that it is? And I'm like, wait, that's not what I thought it was. Just because the way your brain works, when you in your head have told you the same thing over and over and over again, your brain fills in the gaps on the page sometimes. You miss words, or you leave out a character that you thought you put in, or you wrote a character in a way you didn't expect. I've written characters that I wanted to be spunky and fun and quirky, and when I wrote them, they came across as arrogant, purely because of the word choices. But my understanding in my brain, I was looking through a lens that was very different than what other people was looking at. And just revisions and edits was an easy fix.
Well, back to the authors. We have the authors that could be or should be, right? And want to be, and others who don't want to be but should be. How do you adjust to all of that? Because there are many people out there that I think every person has a unique story that could be and should be shared. But many people don't see it that way.
I think that as a teacher, though I'm not in the classroom anymore, it's important to remember that every person is different. Every person has a different learning style. Every person has different priorities. Every person has a different background. And when it comes to helping these people and working with them on getting their books published, I think that's the component that comes in the most frequently. I can't treat two people alike because they're not. Their paces are going to be different. All of it is going to be very different for each person, and their path to success is not going to look the same because their stories are going to be different and will resonate with different people. So the results that one person gets won't even be the same as the next. And so I think that that's the most important thing that aspiring authors need to keep in mind is, A, there's more than one path to success. B, success looks like different things for different people. And C, there are many different ways to publish. There's self-publishing, there's traditional publishing, and both paths look different.
Right.
But experts out there will argue one way or the other. This one's better, this one's better. The reality is, I've been published both ways. One's not better than the other. It's about what's best for you. Both have pros and cons.
Yeah,
and
but to that point, you've opened up another dimension because you say you're not in the classroom anymore, but I differ. I say you're just in a larger classroom with more students or more opportunities. The at-home portion has changed because of the pandemic. Most people were put back into a setting where they weren't ready for. And to that challenge, people have answered that challenge by becoming very creative, finding other professions, doing other things. So I think that aspect of at home, right, is exciting.
Well, and that was the inspiration behind At Home Author, was the fact that people wanted to write stories and they're doing it from their homes. I work with people all over the world at any given time during the day. And it's so much fun. It's absolutely a lot of fun, and it's really rewarding. And I think that that's an interesting perspective. It is like one giant classroom with students just everywhere.
No walls.
No walls.
Well, Vicky, I want to thank you for sharing your time with us today. How can our listeners, wherever they are in this world, find you?
You can find me at athomeauthor.com, on social media, At Home Author. And for my books, you can just search Vicky Weber into Amazon or wherever you get your books from.
Very good. Thanks for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
And to our audience, again, it's Vicky Weber, V-I-C-K-Y. The last name is Weber, W-E-B-E-R. She's on LinkedIn and the site athomeauthor.com, athomeauthor.com. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.